Good morning and welcome to my channel. If you've never seen me before, my name is Cher. I live in southeastern Wyoming. Yesterday was my daughter's 32nd birthday and she had to work, so we weren't able to celebrate it. But rather than having cake for her, she suggested or requested, I should say, that I make a special pie that she likes. This was my sister-in-law's recipe and it's just called strawberry cream cheese pie. It's super easy to substitute if you need to make it for a diabetic. So the first thing I'm going to do is read you the ingredients. It's going to be 2 blocks of softened cream cheese. So first thing this morning when I got up, I just set my cream cheese out in a bowl. It's going to be 1 cup of sugar. Now there's where you could substitute like Splenda, and I believe the equivalency is like, it would be like a half of a cup of Splenda and substitute for the regular sugar. 1 tablespoon of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and you beat that well. Now, for the fruit in this, you can use fresh strawberries, fresh blueberries, fresh raspberries, or you can use a combination of all of those, but they do need to be fresh fruit for this. Make sure, of course, that you've cleaned it, and I do like to make sure and make sure that that fruit is dried. So after I wash that fruit, I'll lay it out on paper towel and let it dry. And as far as how much, like normally, let's say you wanted to just make it a strawberry cream cheese pie, you would use a whole small container of strawberries. It makes it really pretty to add some fresh blueberries into it. Like I said, you can use any combination of fresh fruit that you want. But this is a super easy recipe. The next thing you're going to do is fold in to that mixture 8 ounces of Cool Whip. Now, nothing against Cool Whip, but I do prefer to make my own whipped cream, and I'm going to do that in a minute. And then you're just going to fold in that whipped cream, and then you're going to put that into your graham cracker crust. So I'm going to really quick get my whipped cream mixed up. So that's just super easy. It's just going to be 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, about 1/4 of a cup of powdered sugar, and a little bit of vanilla. So I'm going to get this mixed in. And with my whipped cream, I always like to kind of get it to started to get to a good consistency whipped before I add in my powdered sugar and vanilla. So I'm going to get that mixed up here real quick. So we're going to celebrate Lindsay's birthday tonight. She'll have her pie as she requested instead of cake. And then I think we're just going to order in some Chinese food. Okay. So that's starting to get whipped pretty good. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add in my 1/4 cup. You can do a little bit more. It's not going to hurt it. So about a 1/4 cup of your powdered sugar. And I'm going to do a teaspoon of vanilla. And then I'm going to finish getting this whipped up. Okay. So you can see the consistency now of that whipped cream. It's pretty thick. I'm going to remove that. Now I want that whipped cream, of course, to stay as cold as possible. So while I'm getting the crust ready and the pie mixed up, I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator. So using that little, let's see, it was 1 pint. I'm going to say that made about 4 cups of whipped cream, which that's more than plenty. You could get away with using half of this, cut down a little bit on your powdered sugar, your vanilla for your whipped cream. But honestly, I think the last time that I made this pie, I went ahead and added a little bit more of the whipped cream. It's not going to hurt anything. But you will get about 4 cups if you do it that way with the pint. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, so to make this crust is super easy. I just already bought the graham crackers that were already crushed up. You could also I think it calls for like 12 graham crackers if you have them smashed, and then 1/4 of a cup of melted butter. So I'm going to get this butter melted. Okay, so I melted my 1/4 of a cup of butter, got that softened, melted. Now to that 1 cup of your graham cracker crumbs, you want to put a tablespoon of sugar. I think I forgot to say that. So I'm just going to go ahead now and mix those graham cracker crumbs right into the melted butter. Super simple. And it is better with your homemade crust. If you don't have the time to do that, buy your graham cracker crust. It's not a big deal. Okay. I'm just going to pour those crumbs into my pie pan. And I'm just going to press that in there. Pull my sleeves up. Kind of work it up the sides just a little bit. So you, like I said, you really could make this a sugar-free pie, even with your crust. If you make your own, you could substitute a little bit of Splenda or whatever sweetener you use in place of the sugar. But I know that my mom has made this before, I believe, with the Splenda in it in substitute of the sugar. And it tastes really good. You wouldn't even know. And then, of course, well, for that matter, for your Cool Whip, if you're fine with using Cool Whip, they sell the sugar-free Cool Whip. So there you go. You're looking at a sugar-free pie. Okay. And I'm not making a big deal out of this crust. I didn't even go all the way up the sides. It's fine. So I'm going to set that aside right there. Okay, so as the recipe said, now what I'm going to do, I've got my 2 blocks of softened cream cheese in there. Like I said, I just set those out early this morning. Actually, I just put them in this bowl. So I'm going to start mixing that up. Yeah, I mixed that up for a little bit. Now I'm going to add in my 1 cup of sugar to that and mix all of that up. Teaspoon of vanilla. You couldn't get an easier pie than this, really. And of course, I'll make sure and put this recipe in the description. This is just a little bit stiff. So I'm going to pour in just a little, probably about a tablespoon of milk to start off with, like the recipe says. Okay, so at this point now, I have gotten the cream cheese, the sugar, it's about a tablespoon of milk, and a teaspoon of vanilla. So there's the consistency right now. I'm just going to use my spatula and kind of give it a mix a little bit. Now, like I said, Lindsay requested raspberries in hers. So there's the raspberries. And just so you know, that's 2 of the small containers of the raspberries. And you know, with this recipe, I would say just kind of add in as much fruit really as you want. I mean, it's so good with the fruit in it. So like I said, you can do a combination of your strawberries, your blueberries, raspberries. Maybe you just want blueberries in it, like Lindsay's just wanting raspberries. So you can do that combination however you want, and really as much fruit as you want in it. So the next thing I need to do is mix in the whipped cream. And like I said, that made a lot of whipped cream. That's probably about 4 cups. So I'm going to fold in. I'll probably go about half of that. I mean, you can never have too much whipped cream. So, okay, just folding that in. When I started making my own whipped cream and figured out how easy it is, and you're not getting the things that they make the Cool Whip with, I just started making my own. Okay. Okay, so I have folded that in pretty good. I mean, you're not going to get it completely mixed, but it mixes pretty well with that cream cheese. Okay, and like I said, that's about 2 of the small containers of raspberries. And of course, with those, we want to be a little bit gentle, whatever fruit that you use. Make sure, though, and dry that fruit, like I said. Hopefully, these raspberries are dried enough. Like I said, I wash most of my fruit and vegetables with a little bit of baking soda and water, and rinse those really good. And then, like I said, maybe put those out on some paper towels and let those dry really good. So I'm going to carefully kind of mix those raspberries in. 1 container of those raspberries just is not very much. So that's why I got 2, since this was the only fruit that she wanted in hers. But you see how easy this is. There's no baking. It's not that many ingredients. Very versatile, depending if you want to make it sugar-free, what fruits you want to use in it. And it's amazing. It is a really good pie. Lindsay doesn't even ask for cake anymore for her birthday. Every year, this is what I make. Okay, so I have carefully folded in those raspberries. So the next thing is, I mean, it's this easy. I'm just going to pour that into my graham cracker crust. So good. I mean, anytime you've got something with cream cheese and whipped cream, it's going to be good. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of carefully smooth that into the pie crust. And what I usually do, if I do make this with strawberries, I will save a few of the strawberries back, or whatever fruit you're using, and use that kind of for garnish on top. And it seems like one time I did make this pie in a springform pan, so you can do that too. So just make that kind of pretty in there. And like I said, probably a couple of hours in the refrigerator is going to be enough time for it to set up. Longer, probably, preferably, but and as soon as it gets good and cold, it's ready. Now, even though Lindsay didn't want blueberries in it, just to make it pretty, I'm going to put just a few little blueberries on top, just because why not? And I really should have saved out some of the raspberries. But what I could do, because I want it to be pretty, I've got an idea. So just to make it pretty, I have some strawberries here. I'm just going to put a few little strawberries on top. Lindsay likes all of this fruit. She just really wanted it to be just raspberries. So that's fine. You could put some fresh mint on here, would be really pretty. So there it is. So there it is. I'll get up closer, show you. So that's it. So it's done. It'll go in the refrigerator and cool. We won't be eating it until later tonight. So it has plenty of time to get cold and set up. So that's going to go in the refrigerator. And when I cut it later tonight, I'll get a picture of that. Again, super easy, you guys. Like I said, you can substitute the Splenda for the sugar. And you can buy the sugar-free Cool Whip and you've got a diabetic dessert. You're going to get just a little bit of, well, even for that matter, like I said, with the graham cracker crust, instead of putting that tablespoon of sugar in that, you could use a couple teaspoons of Splenda. So, and your fresh fruit. So it's actually a very healthy dessert as well. So I'm going to get that in the refrigerator. I still have one fly in here. So that's going to the refrigerator. If you're looking at my hair really quick, I don't know if you watched my video where I did a bedroom reset where I cleaned my bedroom, but I said that I was debating whether or not I was going to let my hair transition into gray, and that's what's going on. I know it looks, I'm seeing it on video, but that's how white that I am. And I'm not afraid to show that. I'm not that vain about myself. It's a little bit different for me just because being a cosmetologist, I've always colored my hair, probably since I was 20 years old. I'll be 54 in a couple of weeks. So it's a little different for me, but it's just something that I want to do. Worst case scenario, I can always color it. But I'm so tired of coloring my hair. I'm tired of my hair being damaged. So that's the reason for this. Okay, so I'll be back when we cut into this pie. Okay, so I've just cut Lindsay's piece of pie and I wanted to show it. There's the inside of the pie. And there it is on Lindsay's plate. And you can see that it's set up just really nice. And like I said, as soon as it gets good and cold all the way through, that's ready to cut. But it's a wonderful pie. I'll show you one more time. How pretty. And remember what I said. Now, of course, you can use a combination of whatever kind of fruit. I'm going to say for this pie, you would probably want 4 cups of whatever kind of fruit that you choose for it. And also, like I said, keep in mind that you can substitute the Splenda for regular sugar if you want to make a sugar-free pie with it. So I'm going to take Lindsay her piece of pie. If you stayed for the whole video, thank you so much. God bless you, and I'll see you in my next video. Good night.